Unyielding barriers can suffocate even the bravest heart. When avoidant attachment walls are suffocating your heart, I invite you to journey through the hidden ramparts we construct around ourselves. Ramparts as solid as ancient castle walls, yet as fragile as our deepest longings. Today's video will illuminate how avoidant attachment strategies, forged in childhood, shape our adult lives, relationships, and sense of self. Imagine a child in a sprawling, silent manor, left to play alone for hours. The corridors echo with a parent's unspoken lesson. Manage yourself. Do not burden me. In many homes, a child's tears were met with gentle dismissal, not tender embrace. That dismissal, subtle, consistent, unvoiced, whispered a cruel contract. Vulnerability equals rejection. And so these children learn to build walls, brick by emotional brick, to stave off the sting of unmet needs. This contract with oneself becomes pseudo-autonomy, a grand illusion of self-sufficiency that shimmers with false hope. You whisper in your mind, "I've got this," as though alone were gold. But it's a gilded cage. Its bars are our defenses. Strategies that once kept us alive now keep us apart from the very connections we crave. We become architects of our own isolation, marveling at our independence while missing the warmth of empathy. Many of us wear both anxious and avoidant threads in our attachment tapestry. I, too, have admired the precision of distance, then panicked when the slightest text went unanswered. We swing like a pendulum between clinging and recoiling, our nervous systems echoing the instability of parents who tiptoed around emotions. It was safer to feel nothing, to distance ourselves, than to risk the chaos of feelings. In the beginning of a relationship, avoidant patterns can masquerade as charm. You're attentive, witty, responsive, nothing on the line. But as intimacy deepens, as vulnerability creeps into shared glance and simmering confession, alarm bells ring. The same system that soothed you with solitude in childhood now triggers flight. A too close confession. Too dangerous. A gentle touch. A threat. And so you step away, convinced you protect yourself, even as you starve your heart. One of the most common defenses is the refusal to commit. You'll float in the liminal space of situationships, never uttering the word love, because to commit is to admit dependency. Committing means relinquishing the guard, an act so terrifying that you convince yourself the relationship doesn't exist. It's a declaration. I need only myself. Yet this proclamation rings hollow when loneliness seeps in at midnight. Another tactic is hyper-focusing on imperfections. You meticulously catalogue every perceived flaw in your partner, their career, their education, their quirks, their habits. In the age of dating apps, this becomes a checklist of exclusion, a way to ensure you remain unassailable. And so you scroll, searching for someone who ticks all the boxes, never realizing that the person before you, the one you scrutinize, might be a profound partner if only you lowered the drawbridge. Then there's the myth of Fantasy 10, the one who got away, the shining ideal who never really existed. You build an imaginary pedestal so high that no real human could scale it. You sift through old messages, revisit photographs, inflating memories until this phantom lover becomes a towering colossus. Meanwhile, real relationships with real people languish in your peripheral vision because you believe perfection resides only in the past. When true adversity or grief enters your life, illness in the family, a personal loss, you vanish. Suddenly, a pressing deadline at work demands your full attention, or an old friend's invitation to travel becomes an unavoidable commitment. These seeming obligations are lifelines, disguised as responsibilities. They allow you to drift from emotional depth, evade the murky waters where true connection lives. Memory itself can betray you. In childhood, suppressing emotion meant suppressing memory. When we learned not to feel, our neural pathways grew thick with fog. As adults, we struggle to recall events vividly. Details slip through our fingers like smoke. When a partner cites something we said, we stare blankly, our mind a haze. It isn't malicious deceit. It's a built-in defense that whispers, "Don't go there." Affection becomes conditional in avoidant hearts. You may offer tenderness only on your terms. When the moon is full, when the mood strikes. Public displays of warmth, out of the question. A gentle caress in private, only if you deem it necessary. Intimacy in this rigid calculus must serve a purpose. Otherwise, it is too perilous, too revealing of needs you've long since buried. So how do we begin to dismantle these walls? First, with mindfulness. Notice each impulse to pull away, each tightening of the chest when someone approaches. Name the strategy. Commitment avoidance, nitpicking, phantom fantasies, disappearance, memory fog, conditional warmth, and watch it sketched in your awareness. Awareness is the key that begins to loosen the mortar holding those bricks. Next, communicate with courage. Speak to your partner. I feel myself recoiling right now. My walls are rising. Such admission often disarms the defense, inviting compassion. Set small challenges. Allow a touch without retreat. Sit through a confession without redirecting. Stay present when your mind screams, "Leave." Celebrate every moment you choose connection over distance. Therapy can serve as a safe forge for this work, an environment where vulnerability is not punished, but honored. In those confidential sessions, we learn to endure the storm of feeling, to stay when our instincts scream to run. Piece by piece, brick by brick, the walls begin to crack, letting in the light of genuine intimacy. If you remain single and recognize these patterns, I urge you to date with intention. Challenge your checkboxes, widen your criteria, grant people a chance to surprise you. When you catch yourself recoiling, pause, breathe, and lean instead into curiosity. Ask yourself, what am I protecting? What do I truly want? Avoidant attachment walls are suffocating your heart is not a verdict of despair, but a clarion call to freedom. These walls, though once life-saving, no longer serve us. The heart yearns not for isolation, but for communion. Let us honor the architects within us, not as jailers, but as seekers of balance between autonomy and deep human connection. Only then can the heart breathe again, unshackled and wide open to love's radiant possibilities.
If you believe this video might help someone dear to you, share it with them. A small gesture on your part could mean the world to a friend in need.